Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. It is another day and it is another scholarship opportunity, and this time around I am taking you to Australia, precisely at University of Melbourne, where they have 3 graduate research scholarship opportunities for you to grab. I repeat, 3 graduate research scholarship opportunities. This scholarship is mainly for those who want to do either a master or a PhD in Australia, and this is fully funded. I mean it is fully funded. Without taking too much of your time, let's look at the scholarship opportunities. So the first one is the graduate research scholarship. If you see here, it says applications are open and it is automatic consideration, which means you do not need to submit any extra application form to be considered for this scholarship opportunity, and the value is 100% fee remission and up to 135,000 Australian dollars. And study areas, all areas, it doesn't matter if you are an art student or not, and the total number of students will be a minimum of 600 students. The second one is the research training program and automatic consideration, which also means you don't need to submit any extra document for you to be considered for the scholarship, and the total value is 100% fee remission, which means you don't need to pay any fee. And also it is all study areas, and the total number of students who will be considered for the scholarship is at least 350 students. And lastly, Melbourne Research Scholarship. Consideration is automatic. You don't need to submit any extra application. And then 100% fee remuneration and all study areas as well. And it is going to be at least 350 students who will be considered for the scholarship. You will be considered for the scholarship immediately you submit your application for you to get admission into the university. After a number of days, you will receive an email indicating that your application has been added to this scholarship. Now let's get into the different scholarship and look at some details. We begin with the graduate research scholarship. The first one, as you can see here, it says the Melbourne Research Scholarship and Research Training Program (RTP) research are offered to high achieving international and domestic students who are enrolling in a graduate research degree at the university. So this is for Melbourne Research and the Research Training Program. I'll tell you the difference. The Research Training Program is offered by the Commonwealth Government of Australia, so no application is required, and these are the benefits: general allowance and fee remission. So if you click here, you will see the full benefit. They would even offer you relocation allowance of at least 2,000 Australian dollars if you are moving from one Australian city to another, and also 3,000 Australian dollars if you're coming out of Australia. This is for international students. For living allowance, it will be 37,000 Australian dollars for a year. That is for 1 year of studies, which means you can simply divide $37 by 12 months. You would know how much you will receive on a monthly basis. So for those who would be applying for a master's degree, it is going to be for a duration of 2 years, and for those who would be applying for a PhD, it's going to be for a duration of 3.5 years. And it is also important to note that they will cover your health insurance. There is no need for me to stress that the fee is covered 100% here, as it has been indicated. This scholarship is for those who would want to do a master by research or a PhD by research in Australia, which means there will be the need for you to contact a professor. There is a database for you to contact professors for this scholarship, and then submit your research proposal, and then you would have to receive a confirmation letter from them indicating that they are interested in supervising you for either your master's or your PhD studies at University of Melbourne. So I'll provide a link down in the description for you to go through this website and get the details. For English proficiency, you don't need to worry about English proficiency. If you have studied in a university where English is the medium of instruction, you don't need to provide any English proficiency. So on this page, you can go ahead and click for apply for a graduate research course. The next one is the research training program. The scholarship is provided by the Australian Commonwealth Government and the University of Melbourne, also to high achieving domestic and international students. It is important for me to indicate here that there is an application process. Let's go back to the Melbourne Graduate Research. For the application process for the Melbourne Graduate Research, there are 3 processes. The first one is that if you have applied to one of the graduate research degree programs, you will be considered automatically. And then if you have already had an offer for admission, but maybe as a result of 1 or 2 difficulties, you decided to defer your admission, you would need to go to this link and then submit an application form by October 31st for you to be considered for this scholarship. And then also for those who are already in Australia studying, they can still apply to be considered for this scholarship. So there are 3 options. First one is new students. The second one is students who've already obtained their admission letter and then decided to defer their admission. They would have to submit an online application. And then the next one is those who are already enrolled and they are studying. They can also apply for this scholarship. But when you go to the research scholarship, the one that is offered by the Australian government, the application process is different. You have just 2. The first one is you must make sure you apply to one of the graduate research courses, and then within 7 days you will be informed that you've been automatically considered for a range of the graduate research scholarship. And then the second one is for those who have already obtained their admission letter and then they decided to defer. You would see that for this scholarship option, there is no option for those who are already enrolled and are studying in Australia. And then the last one is the Melbourne Research Scholarship. They say it is offered to high achieving domestic and international students. The opportunities are almost the same, but what is of importance to us is the application process. So the first one is you make sure you apply to one of the graduate research degree programs, and then you will be automatically considered for the scholarship. And then the second one is for those who've already obtained an admission letter and maybe you decided to defer your admission to a later date, maybe because you were not able to obtain a scholarship or maybe because of 1 or 2 difficulties. You can then go ahead and apply online, submit an application form for this scholarship. So on this page, find a course. What you need to do is go and click on graduate research and then look for the course that you would want or the degree program that you want to study. Let's take Master of Education Research. Let's look at English requirement, view full entry requirements. So if you go down, you would find English requirement. All students must meet English requirement. For this one, it says graduates are taught and assessed in English across the University of Melbourne. When you apply for a graduate degree, you will need to meet the university's English requirement. You can do this in a number of ways depending on circumstance. You have the options here: non-English speaking background, English speaking background, or education. So if you take English speaking background, it says applicants who have completed an undergraduate degree or a degree of at least 2 years duration. If you have completed an undergraduate degree or a graduate degree of at least 2 years duration where the degree was taught and assessed entirely in English, you may satisfy the university English requirement if you fulfill the following: if the degree was completed within 2 years of commencement to the study at the University of Melbourne, no additional evidence of English requirement is required between 2 to 5 years of your commencement of your degree or more than 5 years. So this is good news. You don't need to worry too much about English requirement, but it is important for me to indicate that the conditions might be different depending on the major. That being said, I'm going to end the video here. This video has been too long. If you know you've not yet subscribed to the channel, make sure you do subscribe. More opportunities will be coming up on the channel, either from South Korea, Australia, and maybe Canada, United States. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.